You are rich. This is true even if you have no money. A typical economist will tell you that wealth is how much money you have. But you are rich, I promise you. They've taught you to measure wealth in the wrong way. It's not about money. Now, if you have no money, this probably sounds ridiculous. If you think that, stick with me until the end. Keep an open mind. And if you still think it's ridiculous at the end, that's okay. But maybe I'll just convince you. I did a previous video looking at different definitions of wealth. It unpicked the narrow definition of wealth we've been sold: net worth, property, status, digits on a screen. But the things which actually make life worth living don't come with a price tag. Wealth is more than money. It's health, time, love, safety, a sense of purpose, a place to belong, clean air, a peaceful mind, the warmth of a hug, the feeling of being alive. None of these show up on a balance sheet, but they are the things that we truly cherish if we lose them, which leads to a radical proposition, a proposition that, if it's true, has profound implications for economics. What I'm proposing is, you are already wealthy. You may be very skeptical of this. The current economic and political orthodoxy doesn't want you to believe this, so it will call me an idealist, a radical, a communist, a nutter. I can hear them saying, that's ridiculous. Try telling someone struggling to pay rent or feed their children that they're rich. Yes, it's true material wealth is not insignificant. Money provides comfort, it provides pleasure. It pays for food, heating, housing, medicine. It buys time, mobility, security. I'm not romanticizing poverty. But that doesn't mean that wealth is only material. And it certainly doesn't mean that someone with money is automatically living a rich life. Someone can have all of these things in abundance, yet feel empty and depressed. There are many people with significant material wealth who are lonely, anxious, addicted, spiteful, exhausted. People who look successful, but live in quiet misery. No amount of wealth guarantees meaning, peace, or love. So this proposition is not a denial of financial hardship and the discomfort that can come with that. It's a challenge to the assumption, so deeply embedded in our culture, that money is the only kind of wealth that counts in the economy. Here's a different lens. You might not have much money right now, but ask yourself, do you have someone who loves you or someone you love? Do you have a body that still moves, even imperfectly? Can you laugh, create, think your own thoughts? Have you known beauty, a piece of music, a child's drawing, a tree in winter? Do you know what matters to you? Can you help someone else? Can you be helped? If you answered yes to even a few of these, you're in possession of wealth far beyond what capitalism measures. These are riches. They nourish, they sustain, they heal. So what does this mean for you and for the economy? Here's the subversive part. If you stop believing that wealth is money, the system begins to crack. You consume less, you compete less, you rest more, you share more, you honour different things, you live, not just accumulate. That's not just a spiritual realisation, it's an economic shift. When enough people step off the treadmill loses power. This isn't about settling for less, it's about no longer settling for lies. And here's the deepest truth. If you change, the economy changes too. When you realise you're already wealthy, you live differently. You stop waiting, you stop chasing, you start living with presence, meaning and care, with love. And that shift doesn't just improve your life, it changes how you relate to everything around you. The economy isn't just something out there. It's made up of decisions, transactions, energies, yours and mine, and everyone else's. When you change, it changes. Slowly at first, then all at once. And here's the paradox. When you stop chasing money, money often flows more easily. Not because you're playing the game better, but because you're playing a different game altogether, one rooted in trust, in clarity and authenticity. This is not a fantasy. It's how real change begins, inside one life and then another. You are the economy, and when you remember that, you're already rich. The whole system begins to shift. You might not feel wealthy, you might be struggling, but it's worth looking again. If you can feel joy, not constantly, but sometimes, if you're able to give or receive love, if you can see meaning in the ordinary things, if you've known grace, peace, beauty, even briefly, then you're already rich in a way that money cannot touch. But here's the paradox, and it's not magic, it's alignment. When you stop chasing wealth, you begin to live richly. And when you begin to live richly, grounded, clear, alive, it's often the case that material needs start to take care of themselves. Not because the universe rewards good behaviour, but because you're no longer acting from fear, scarcity or ego. You're making better decisions, you attract better relationships, you work with more clarity, you create more value, and you waste far less on things that don't matter. You become the kind of person people want to trust, follow, work with, support. Let's stop asking the economy to deliver what only meaning can, and let's start asking what kind of economy would grow from people who already know they're rich. True wealth isn't something you get, it's something you realise, and once you do, everything else begins to shift. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.